think that's going to be a very tough vote in the Senate, unless the Democrats vote for it, and they might.
What do you think? Why would the Democrats go for it?
Because the Democrats think they can win seats.
Assuming your concerns that you talked to us about last week still are the same concerns you have now over redistricting.
My concerns haven't changed. My position hasn't changed. But of course, a lot's been happening. So we'll see. I mean, like I think the House is trying to keep their options open with the sine die, and their options open really in order to evaluate our maps in light of the Supreme Court opinion last week. So I think they'll try to do that, and then we'll see, if they're successful at that, then we'll see what happens on the Senate side.
Did the White House reach out to you at all?
Yeah.
Today?
I have talked to the president twice.
Today?
Once today.
Is that the first time you've ever heard from the president?
Yesterday was the first time I talked to the president. Yeah.
Did you express your concerns?
Go?
Did you express your concerns about the maps?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a very good conversation. I mean, we talked about a number of things, frankly. Very good conversation. There was no pressure. But I very much appreciated the call, and even the call today was very good too. No pressure today either. So.
What was his ask? What would he like to see you all do?
In light of the Supreme Court decision last week, to take a look at it.
And pass a redistricting bill?
Well, I mean, he asked us to take a look at it when I spoke with him.
Did you express similar concerns that you've expressed here to him as well? I mean, he doesn't know the on-the-ground conditions here. Like,
well, so I've had a number of conversations with other people at the White House as well, and I've expressed my concerns to them, so they know what my concerns are.
Would you mind just in brief repeating your concerns? 1, 2, 3.
Well, I mean, it's more than 3.
Well, 4, 5, 6 then.
It's and I don't know if I've got time to go through. I mean, like I'm concerned about whether we can hold 7 seats. Frankly, I'm concerned that if you, as I've said before, that if you get cute with this and you start playing with it too much, that you could actually end up losing seats. And I don't want to go through an effort like this and you end up being in the same spot. I certainly don't want to be in a worse position. I'm concerned about the state Supreme Court because they were very clear in their ruling last September. I'm concerned about preserving communities of interest and our historical basis for how we've had congressional districts drawn. I mean, I've got a number of concerns. I could probably think more when just standing here. I mean, I've got a number of concerns that I've shared with them.
That they might be in a district they've never been in before.
I don't know. I think we'll have to see if we get to the point where there's a map released. Then I think people have an opportunity to take a look at that and they can make a decision about whether they're supportive or not.
I got the sense, at least just talking to them over there, that they don't really have a plan for what this would look like. I mean, it says that we have lawyers to discuss these things, but they don't know what a plan would look like, what we're legally bound to do. Has that been something that's even been discussed on this side, like what a 7-0 map would realistically look like?
I think we first have to see whether we can amend the sine die resolution. I'm not supportive of that, but I think we first have to see whether the votes are there to amend the sine die. If you can't amend the sine die, there's probably no reason to have a further conversation.
Does that mean not further?
Vote no to do that.
I will vote no on amending the sine die.
Does that mean there would be no sine die resolution, period?
Which is kind of what we thought was going to happen anyway.
What's your caucus on this? I mean, you're saying no. What's the vibe with everyone else?
We'll find out. I don't know that I really got a good feel on that, candidly. And we haven't had a conversation about whether people would vote to amend the sine die.
So,
This is all, I mean, it's all, as y'all know, this is moving really quickly, right? So we haven't had an opportunity to discuss a lot of this stuff.
so even the House leadership said that this doesn't guarantee that they will even pass a redraw of a map. I assume that even if there were votes to pass the sine die resolution, there may not be a guarantee in this chamber that y'all could even pass a map.
Well, I mean, I think people are going to be asked to vote on the sine die without seeing a map. And I think what the map looks like is going to matter to people. What the numbers look like is going to matter. I mean, it should. I mean, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, the first step is going to have to be the sine die, or else you're going to have to do it in the next 5 days, right? There's going to have to be a decision in there to suspend primaries if you get to that point. Another concern I've got, John, is that we have a lot of votes that have already been cast. And a lot of those votes are coming from active duty military members who are stationed overseas. And I am concerned about this.
The speaker's response to that was, well, the statewide and legislative seats would still go on. They would only suspend the congressional.
I think that's another concern I've got, John. And that will certainly be a debate over here.
So right now, you don't support amending the sine die, and you still don't support redrawing the maps at this point.
Well, I think it's a bad idea for a number of reasons, but specifically here, I think we've got to see the map too.
Is it?
You know?
Is there a workaround to do like a study committee in the off session, some sort of promise to look at the maps but do it in a more structured way?
I haven't heard a conversation about that.
Is that a workaround, you think?
I don't know. I think I think if you're really going to look at this, it's for the 2026 election cycle, right? Because I don't think having looked
2028 or 2026?
2026. I think from my review of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in the Louisiana case last week, I really don't think that applies to us at all, because we don't have a Section 2 district. So I don't think it applies. But I understand the request from the governor, and what the House wants to do is let's just make sure. I understand that, but I don't, and that was the request from the president too. But I don't think it applies.
Right, I was going to ask, how do you make sure when the same makeup of the court that ruled on Louisiana has already said that our map is constitutionally sound?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Have these concerns, have you communicated this with House leadership?
I have not hidden my concerns from anybody. I've tried to be straight with everybody who's asked me about it, as I've been straight with y'all the whole time, telling you what my concerns were. So I've said them publicly, I've said them privately, but look, I understand that people may disagree with me.
Have they shown you a map?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're going to propose. I mean, I've seen all kinds of maps floating around everywhere, but as far as what they might deal with, I don't know. I've not seen that map. I'm not sure they've seen that map.
So hopping back in the time machine a little bit, when we talked about this before, I mean, you've said, under oath and to us that it would be political malpractice for us to have not drawn the maps it was. It was a politically based argument, not a race-based one. At the time, I guess what led you to believe that this was the politically expedient option to have it the way it is right now?
The current map?
Yeah.
Was that the U.S. Supreme Court had said that we could draw maps based on partisanship, and we were looking at a scenario where I felt like, and I think a number of other people felt like, that one vote could matter to determine whether Nancy Pelosi was Speaker. And I owed it to the country not to let that happen if I could prevent it.
Got it. And the reason I was asking is because the same argument could be applied here for why we would eliminate Clyburn's district. And so that's what I'm trying to get at is.
And I understand that, and I think somebody could probably make that same argument against it, or in support of it. I've expressed to y'all some of my concerns. I've probably got more that may be expressed at a later date.
In your talk with President Trump, did he indicate to you that, hey, look, the future of the makeup of the U.S. House of Representatives may be on the line with what you do here in South Carolina?
Well, I don't want to get into all the details of what the president and I talked about. I'll tell you, it was a very good conversation. It was very, very cordial. No real pressure. But he clearly expressed his desire that we take a look at the maps now, especially in light of the Supreme Court opinion.
Because he wants the makeup of the U.S. House to be Republican.
What I've heard is take a look at them in light of the Supreme Court opinion.
So he didn't ask you to specifically do anything. He just said, take a look at it. That was really mostly what we talked about.
Can you describe it as like a 5-minute conversation, a 30-minute conversation?
No, I mean, it was less than 10.
Anything else we didn't ask you that you would love to
Is it
add to
possible?
this
Is
I
it
don't think
possible
so
that
at this
there's
point.
Are
something-
you going to give a speech on the floor tomorrow?
Am I going to
About
give?
any of this related?
They're passing it tomorrow.
They're voting on it tomorrow.
We're voting on it tomorrow. Thank you.
Agenda 9:30, and then on the floor. That's what he said.
Okay. Agenda they're gonna have on the committee.
Yeah, it's in
Rules.
Rules Committee 9:30
They've
a.m.
got on
tomorrow.
Monday.
They've got a different rules over it than we do. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I guess it depends on what it looks like. But you know, I mean, I've got concerns. I told the White House I had concerns, and so I don't think it would surprise anyone if I expressed those concerns publicly.
When you say the White House, you mean President Trump?
And I mean, I've spoken to other people up there as well,
Who?
other staff members.
Can
Susie?
you,
Susie?
No, I mean, I'm not going to identify the people, but I've not talked to her, but I've talked